Hi, everybody. It is July 9, 2021. This is going to piss an awful lot of you off. It should piss all of you off. It sure pisses me off. And every healthy homosexual, gay, lesbian, of sound mind, if you're not fighting what is taking place, if you don't see that this is absolutely an agenda to demoralize and abuse children, then I don't know what to say. There's something wrong with you. Okay. Let me just play it.
Coming for your children. We will convert your children. We'll convert your children. Yes, we will. Reaching one and all. There's really no escaping it. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. Then soon, we're almost certain your kids will start converting you. The gay agenda is coming home. This sounds like some sort of creepy cult or horror movie script or something. Yeah, it does. These are actually lyrics to a song that was just put out by the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir about how they're coming for your children. You think I'm joking. I can see through your screen that you think I'm joking. I'm not joking. This is real. You're about to watch the video right now. See if you can get through it.
As we celebrate Pride on the progress we've made over these past years, there's still work to be done. So to those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children. We'll make them tolerant and fair.
At first I didn't get why you'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem with that.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protests. Oh, and you'll be disgusted when they start finding things online that you've kept far from their sight. Like information. Guess what? You'll still be alright. We'll convert your children. Yes, we will.
Reaching one and all. There's really no escaping it.
'Cause even grandma likes RuPaul.
And the world's getting kinder.
Gen Z's gayer than Grindr. Learn to love, learn to vogue, face your fate. We'll convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for them.
We're coming for your children.
We're coming for them.
We're coming for them.
We're coming for your children.
We're coming for them.
We're coming for them.
Your children will care about fairness and justice for others. Your children will work to convert all the
disco.
Go and turn up that disco.
You'll forget you were ever upset.
We'll convert your children and make an ally of you yet. We'll make an ally of you yet. We'll make an ally of you yet.
Do you remember back in the day when people used to say, why do Christians care so much about what grown adults do in their bedroom? Love is love. Stay out of my bedroom. Remember those days? Now it's, we're coming for your children.
Okay. I don't care what anybody does in their bedroom. I have respect for a whole lot of people. I don't have respect for people who force their lifestyle onto everyone else. You know, it's like you're slapped in the face. They force this lifestyle upon you. And look, I don't care what the lifestyle is, as long as you're not hurting people. When you're actually singing about converting people's children, look, it seems pretty obvious to me that something's very wrong here. And, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm a human being that sees these agendas that are forced upon everyone. You ask for respect, but you don't respect anybody else. You demand a respect from people. Well, you know what? Respect is earned. It is earned. And you ain't gonna get it this way. Not at all. We all understand the agenda. It's to make people pissed. It's to literally just turn everything on its head. It is to eradicate all traditional norms in this country, everything. And these guys are part of the agenda. You're not going to get respect from me. And I don't give a shit who you sleep with. You're not going to get respect from me because of this stupid, dangerous song. We're coming for your children. Great. Well, those of you in this community who are healthy, of sound mind, please, I hope that you are speaking out against what is going on here. Proud to be just this subhuman entity. And it's not about who you sleep with. It's not because you're gay. It's because of your forcing your lifestyle onto everybody else. No, that's not the way you get respect. If anybody still does not see that there is a very deliberate agenda to bring about the changing of all norms and to force lifestyles upon everyone, well, here, Brussels. Now, Hungary, Orban has, the president of Hungary, who faces a national election next year, has said the new law aims to protect children and does not discriminate against sexual minorities. What is the law that he's talking about? The EU, the European Union, forcing upon all of the countries within the Union that they adopt this LGBTQ agenda and bring in those advocates into their nursery schools, into their K-12 schools. So this is what the EU has done with that, with Hungary saying, no, we won't go there. It is in a Reuters article, Hungary rejects EU demand to ditch shameful anti-LGBT law. Okay, here.
Herr Präsident Sassoli, lieber David, Herr Präsident Michel. Dieses Gesetz stellt Homosexualität und Geschlechtsumwandlung.
This law puts homosexuality and gender reassignment on a par with pornography. This law uses the protection of children, to which we are all committed, as an excuse to severely discriminate against people because of their sexual orientation. This law is disgraceful.
Un plus large aperçu de la manière dont nous voulons. Si la Hongrie ne corrige pas le tir, la Commission fera usage.
If Hungary doesn't set things right, the Commission will use the powers invested in it as the guardian of the treaties.
Soyons clairs.
Let's be clear. We will use these powers whichever member state impedes European law.
Le droit européen. Our officials are examining all the.
What are those powers? To withhold the funds to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Hungary, well, the chief of staff of Orban reiterated their stance by stating Brussels' efforts to have us allow LGBTQ activists into schools and nursery schools are in vain. We are not willing to do that. Why would anybody want LGBTQ activists in nursery schools, in first grade, in kindergarten, in second grade, in third grade? Why? For what purpose? To indoctrinate the children. And it is abuse because these children do not have the brain power to process what is happening in all of our schools. All of our schools around the world. Western countries in particular. This is going on in Australia, in all European countries, in Canada. What? That's bizarre, isn't it? Don't you think? You know, why are all of these countries instituting the same school policies at the same time? Doesn't that beg questions? This is a deliberate agenda. You know, Canadian government to extend Pride Month throughout the whole summer. September. Let's just go for it. A month is not enough. Let's do the whole summer. Canada is also throwing people in jail, parents who refuse to abide by their law that literally compels speech. The pronouns in Canada, if you do not speak the pronouns that somebody wants, even if it's your, daughter who claims to be transgender, you violate the law. A father jailed for calling his transgender child, who was born female, his daughter, and denouncing her medical treatment, jailed. Jailed? Really? Don't you think that this is going a little bit too far? You're going to jail a father Yeah, look, this came about because the child wanted hormone treatment and the father refused. Now, if you look into it, you will see that the hormone treatments that are given these kids have permanent effects. So, if they grow out of that stage of thinking that they're transgender, because now it's hip. Now it's like, a fad. All these kids claiming that they're transgender. And the parents, if they're of sound mind, they will not permit their child to undergo any kind of medical treatment to change their sex, because there are a lot of very powerful adverse effects from these hormone treatments. And now I'm wondering if this video is going to go down. I am so sick of people forcing people to speak a certain way and treat me a certain way just because I claim I'm this. But when you start seeing that people are getting thrown in jail for, not saying what somebody else wants you to say, that should really be, that red flag of tyranny. Hey, look at this. This is tyranny. BC removes gendered language from nearly 70 government regulations. Well, we did that here. That was the most important legislation or regulation that they just got to in January. Pelosi, the Democrats. Meanwhile, we had this pandemic and people's lives, American lives, were so completely and utterly destroyed. But we think it's important to remove gendered language. Something wrong here? Well, something's wrong with the residents of these respective Western countries for allowing this to go on. Navy unit, U.S. Navy. And I think, this is like, if there's going to be a unit or a branch of the military, it's going to be the Navy holding a mandatory pride hike. Mandatory force the lifestyle upon others. Force people to take trainings, do walks. This is not a free country anymore. Yeah. Fly that rainbow flag in honor of Pride Month, and it's mandatory. Secretary of State Blinken will allow embassies to fly the LGBTQ flag on same pole as U.S. flag. You don't see the agenda. You don't see the coordination. State Department, same thing. Fly it. And Biden administration grants blanket authorization to fly pride flag at embassies. It's coming directly from governments doing this. The European Union, the U.S. government, the Canadian government, the UK, all of them. Judge says Biden administration can force Christian colleges to change LGBT policies. Force it. That's not how you get respect. That's actually how you get disrespect. That's how this begins to backfire. How will it backfire? Well, it's not going to backfire from hate. So, you know, and these young kids, I mean, they think that they're really doing something good. A whole lot of them. You know, they're the social justice warriors. Hate will not get us anywhere. Respect will get us everywhere. But you cannot, you know, from the LGBTQ community, you can't demand it. You have to earn it. And forcing this upon everyone, especially young kids, and singing and actually fabulous voices, singing "We're Coming for Your Kids." What is that going to do? You think that's going to win hearts? It's not. It's only going to inflame tensions. Oh, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point. Because when people get angry, you claim they're hateful. They're hateful. You know, if anybody comes across this video who is of that community, they'll claim, I am hateful, and I'm not. I'm not. So, Catholic parents to protest gay pride flags being raised at Ontario Catholic schools. You know, SUNY suspends State University of New York suspends student for posting views on biological gender. You can't do that anymore. I don't care what you think. You just shut up and you adopt our new reality. There's not two genders. Here, listen, there's apparently six. Six. Now, this is a hearing in the state capitol in Texas. Texas. Texas Representative James, I can't tell her, Rico. Okay, listen to him.
The thing I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are six, which honestly, Representative Hefner surprised me too. Surprised me too, because I am not well versed in this issue area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician, a lot worse than a scientist.
Who cannot be here today.
Damn straight, a lot worse, because these are your representatives in Texas. No, I was surprised too. There are six sexes. No, there are two. There are two. Okay, this really represents the American people. That these people are still in office says a lot. It does reflect the American people. Everything that's going on in this country reflects all of us. And we are clearly, putting up with something that is destroying us, and we know it. And no, I don't think that lesbians and gay people destroy. What I am saying is there's a very big difference between the individuals who, are lesbian and gay and bisexual and the agenda. And if you can't figure that out, well, then you're just going to be one of those screaming, entitled, privileged morons because you can't see the agenda that is taking place. It is purposeful, it is deliberate, and it is not good. Not when you bring this to children. That's where it becomes so dangerous. And what you're doing, it's like, never did I think that I would agree with those conservatives as well as Christians, that now the agenda is a perversion that you bring to little children to indoctrinate them. And perhaps Wow, bring them into a world where ordinarily they may never have entered. But the influence of adults is great on children. Yeah, it gets a little much after saying this over and over again. Chicago announces it will provide free condoms to all public school children ages 10 and up. 10. Free condoms. 10-year-olds. Huh. Well, things are definitely changing. And unfortunately, a lot of the LGBTQ and the drag queens and this kind of stuff, governments, allowing all of this, they're sexualizing children. Children, need to develop on their own. They need healthy adults around them to encourage their own individuality. They're set on a trajectory, and much of what, they may state when they're 7 or 8, by 13 and 14 is a very different story. That's how children develop. We now just force this stuff on them. It is so abusive. The New England Journal of Medicine. Sex designations on birth certificates offer no clinical utility, and they can be harmful for intersex and transgender people. So if I had a birth certificate, well, I do, and there's an F, or maybe it says female or whatever, that hurts transgender people. You know what I would say to that? Get a life. You need to get a life. You need to develop some interests or something so that you're not hurt and I have to protect you. So we're going to erase the biological sex from birth certificates because, you transgender people are so sensitive and we have to protect you. Everything's about you. The whole world has now become about you. Oh, and POC. It's an agenda. So don't hate any of these individuals that you know in your life. It's not about that. It's infuriating to see so many people involved in this agenda thinking that it's a good thing when it's not. It's really sad to see how many young adults think that this is just grand to bring to some kid in nursery school because obviously they are very messed up and there's a lot of them. And thank God for those young who are not messed up. And I'll get to her in a minute, but the changing landscape of global LGBTQ plus rights. Council on Foreign Relations. So if you don't know anything about the Council on Foreign Relations, understand this. This is where our government gets direction. From this. This is far more powerful than the White House and Congress. Council on Foreign Relations. Bringing the LGBTQ global. Wow. What's really sad is to see that they're actually achieving success. New York Times wonders why sex-positive teacher of pornography literacy was suddenly pilloried by parents. New York Times, you don't understand? Pornography literacy classes are supposed to teach students how to critically assess what they see on the screen. But when a sex-positive educator taught her curriculum at 2 elite New York City schools recently, some parents were outraged. Geez, I wonder why. It was at Dalton, and a masturbation lesson for first graders. Oh, and New York Times doesn't understand why parents might be upset about that. Really?
Hey, how come my penis gets big sometimes and points up in the air?
That's called an erection.
Sometimes I touch my penis because it feels good.
Sometimes when I'm in my bath or when Mom puts me to bed, I like to touch my vulva too. You have a clitoris there, Kayla, that probably feels good to touch the same way Keith's penis feels good when he touches it.
All right, that's enough. I will link below. You can watch the full thing. First grade, and this woman was actually employed for a whole long time. She is no longer, thank God, Justine Ang Fonte, or Font. This is a sick, twisted woman who needs help herself. To bring this to first graders? And the New York Times doesn't understand why parents are upset. Something's wrong with that picture. A teacher who taught first graders about tube bending with cartoon videos resigns. Well, she was forced to resign because outrage. Outrage is a good thing. Here, look at this picture. Okay. First day off, my 11th year, disrupting health education. That's what we're undergoing right now. It's a disrupting education era that we're living. Everything's about disruption. Are there any healthy people left? California transgender prison law. Biological males attacking female inmates. Yeah. Now, prisoners, they can say, I'm female. Oh, okay, we're going to put you in with the females. Great policy, isn't it? Yes, kink belongs at Pride. This is the Washington Post, the New York Times, and any of you liberals who still think that your shit don't stink because you read these papers, you're reading what amounts to trash. Garbage in, garbage out. And that's where they've brought your mind if you're still reading these papers. Kink belongs at Pride. When our children grew tired of marching, we plopped onto a nearby curb. Just as we got settled, our elementary schooler pointed in the direction of oncoming floats, raising an eyebrow at a bare-chested man in dark sunglasses whose black suspenders clipped into a leather thong. The man paused to be spanked playfully by a partner with a flog. What are they doing, my curious kid asked, as our toddler cheered them on. The pair was the first of a few dozen kinksters who danced down the street laughing together as they twirled their whips and batons, some leading companions by leashes. At the time, my children were too young to understand the nuance of the situation, but I told them the truth, that these folks were members of our community celebrating who they are and what they like to do. The kink community has participated in Pride since its inception, risking their jobs and safety to be authentically themselves in public. Oh, how? Oh, my. Oh, I'm so glad that you can authentically be yourself in public, in front of children, and display your S&M crap. You know, there are certain things that really, you know, it's just good to kind of like keep them out of the public sphere. I don't know. Call me crazy. Whatever the hell you want to do, go ahead and do it. Don't do it in everybody's face and then demand respect for it. Holy shit. I agree that Pride should be a welcoming space for children and teens, but policing how others show up doesn't protect or uplift young people. Yes, it actually does. It actually does. Because children do not need to see that. You know, this was kind of a given that you didn't really have to say out loud, but now you have to argue the point. Who the hell are these parents? Holy, my God. Well, I always knew something was wrong with parenting, but wow, has it only gotten worse? Yeah, this is Lauren Rowello. Ah, Lauren, how progressive you are. You know, why don't you just take your toddler? You know, oh, wait, people are doing that. Parents are. They're taking their very young kids to gay bars to watch drag queen shows when the kid should actually be in bed. That's probably what Lauren does. Well, thank God homeschool applications doubled in California. That's one bit of good news. But hey, it's totally okay to have debate and disagree. But folks in media, the term biological males is a serious anti-trans slur. You should not use it without noting that. Do it my way. Oh, it's okay to debate and disagree, but do it my way. Kate Sosin. Biological male? Sorry. Oh, you consider that a slur. Too friggin' bad. Okay. One healthy young girl, thank God for her. Here we go.
Let's address the gender spectrum debate from as many angles as we can in 60 seconds. Let's go. If you're a man or a woman who identifies as anything other than a man or a woman, that is totally your right. It is not then your right to step on my free speech and tell me what I'm obligated to call you. And as the gender spectrum debate rises, so is legislation that is labeling misgendering as a hate crime. 2, I fundamentally believe that we are all men and women. That is human nature. That is biology. I do not placate to those who don't believe in science. Thirdly, as the gender spectrum ideology is rising, it is rising in our public schooling systems, meaning that young boys and girls are being exposed to this ideology, which is causing psychological harm to them and making them confused as to what gender they are. 4, for the lefties out there, if a man identifying as a woman is a real woman, does he share your patriarchal oppression or your womanhood? Does he get to compete in women's sports and kick your butt like they're doing right now? 5, as we normalize all this gender identification, we're normalizing predators being able to go into whatever bathroom that they want and letting our whole society fall victim to their depravity. So no, it's not just about a little box that you check when you're going to university and they ask what gender you are. These are fundamental changes that are being made to our society and everything that has ever been true. Let's address the gender spectrum debate.
You want to hear that again? I love it. I'm playing that again. I love it. Okay, we need more of her speaking out. Whether they are black, white, gay, straight, doesn't matter. People need to speak out. People who are healthy and of sound mind.
Debate from as many angles as we can in 60 seconds. Let's go. If you're a man or a woman who identifies as anything other than a man or a woman, that is totally your right. It is not then your right to step on my free speech and tell me what I'm obligated to call you. And as the gender spectrum debate rises, so is legislation that is labeling misgendering as a hate crime. 2, I fundamentally believe that we are all men and women. That is human nature. That is biology. I do not placate to those who don't believe in science. Thirdly, as the gender spectrum ideology is rising, it is rising in our public schooling systems, meaning that young boys and girls are being exposed to this ideology, which is causing psychological harm to them and making them confused as to what gender they are. 4, for the lefties out there, if a man identifying as a woman is a real woman, does he share your patriarchal oppression or your womanhood? Does he get to compete in women's sports and kick your butt like they're doing right now? 5, as we normalize all this gender identification, we're normalizing predators being able to go into whatever bathroom that they want and letting our whole society fall victim to their depravity. So no, it's not just about a little box that you check when you're going to university and they ask what gender you are. These are fundamental changes that are being made to our society and everything that has ever been true. Let's address the gender spectrum.
Okay, And for all of you who may be bisexual, gay, lesbian, trans, you take offense to what I've said or what she has said, you're missing the point. Your brain doesn't work very well. It's about the children. For me, it's really about the children. You do not mess with children. You do not psychologically abuse children. You do not confuse children. You allow them to be innocent and do what children do. Explore. Just slowly develop. Hopefully they have healthy adults who will encourage that development. You don't force upon them these adult things that they don't even have, the cognition to process. That's why it's abuse. And if you're not getting that, trans, lesbian, gay, bisexual, then there's something wrong with you. Stop forcing upon other people how they need to treat you. Stop forcing how they need to address you, because that's not a free society. And a whole lot of us really want to be free.